A great white shark is considered one of the most perfect predators evolution has ever produced. 6 meters of muscle, razor teeth, and raw power that slices through the modern ocean with ruthless efficiency. We're used to thinking the ocean is a harsh but understandable environment, where predators follow predictable rules of size, speed, energy efficiency, and evolutionary progression from primitive to advanced forms. The facts speak otherwise. Some creatures violate these expectations so profoundly they feel biologically alien, anachronistic, or excessively specialized, as if pulled from a harsher, less settled prehistory. We're told marine life operates on clear food chains, straightforward adaptation, and firm survival limits. Today, we examine 10 real ocean creatures that, by all the laws of biology we usually accept, shouldn't feel this strange. And we'll discover why they didn't just exist. They expose how much harsher, stranger, and less linear nature and prehistory really are. The facts speak otherwise, and each one escalates the mystery with measurable evidence. We'll move from living fossils that refuse to change to colonial extremes that blur what counts as a single animal to abyssal specialists that rewrite the very rules of survival, widening into the larger thesis that the ocean, and evolution itself, is far stranger, harsher, and less settled than the flattened version we inherited. We're used to thinking modern sharks are efficient apex predators with streamlined jaws and powerful bites honed over millions of years. Official science calls the frilled shark a rare, primitive deep-sea species. The problem is that this creature is a living fossil essentially unchanged for 80 million years. Its eel-like body stretches up to 2 meters, lined with 6 pairs of frilled gill slits that give it an almost reptilian profile. The destabilizing detail hits when you examine the jaws. 300 trident-shaped needle teeth arranged in widely spaced rows, a terminal mouth positioned at the very front of the snout for swallowing large prey whole. Biomechanical studies show it relies on snake-like undulating locomotion rather than the side-to-side thrashing of modern sharks, generating weak bite force that it compensates for with powerful suction feeding. The deeper complication is the reproductive strategy. Gestation can last up to 3.5 years, the longest of any vertebrate, producing litters of 2 to 15 pups already half a meter long at birth. It hunts at depths down to 1,500 meters in near total darkness. That would already be strange enough for a shark that looks like it swam out of the Cretaceous. But the real mystery begins when you realize it is a direct snapshot of ancient ocean predation still operating in today's depths, proving evolution can preserve extreme ancient designs when the environment demands it. Modern sharks are supposed to have fixed, efficient jaw structures optimized for speed and power. Official accounts describe the goblin shark as an odd-looking, rarely seen deep-sea species with a long snout. The destabilizing detail emerges in its feeding mechanics. The jaws are hyper-protrusable, capable of slingshot extension almost the full length of the snout in a fraction of a second. Technical measurements reveal specimens reaching nearly 4 meters, with the flattened snout covered in ampullae of Lorenzini, electroreceptors that detect the faintest muscle contractions of prey in total darkness. High-speed recordings show lower jaw velocity hitting 3.14 meters per second, the fastest recorded for any fish, allowing it to strike from ambush in food-scarce zones. It drifts slowly at depths between 270 and 1,300 meters or more. That would already be strange enough for a creature that looks like it belongs in a nightmare. But the real mystery begins when you realize this extreme mechanical specialization defies standard shark engineering, showing the deep sea force's innovations that feel almost alien in their precision. Reproduction in animals is supposed to rely on mobility, mate finding, and independent survival. Most people picture a deep-sea anglerfish as a fish with a bioluminescent lure for hunting in darkness. The destabilizing detail is extreme sexual parasitism. Tiny males fuse permanently to the much larger female, becoming little more than sperm-producing organs. Females can reach 1 meter or more, while males are 1/40th the size or smaller. Up to 8 males have been found fused to a single host. The lure glows with symbiotic bacteria, drawing prey in the midnight zone at depths from 300 to 1,700 meters and beyond. The female floats in energy-efficient ambush, while the attached males lose eyes, digestive systems, and mobility, sustained entirely by her bloodstream. That would already be strange enough for any vertebrate. But the real mystery begins when you realize evolution rewrote the most basic rules of individuality and reproduction to survive where encounters are vanishingly rare. Cephalopods are supposed to be active, colorful, jet-propelled hunters. Official descriptions call the vampire squid a small, cape-like deep-sea species. The destabilizing detail is that it is neither squid nor octopus, but the sole survivor of an ancient order, and it does not hunt at all, it scavenges marine snow. It drifts at depths greater than 600 meters in the ocean's lowest oxygen zones, using fin propulsion instead of jetting and webbed arms that form a cloak-like veil. When threatened, it ejects clouds of bioluminescent mucus packed with glowing particles that can dazzle predators for minutes. It retains living fossil traits preserved from more than 200 million years ago. That would already be strange enough for a cephalopod. But the real mystery begins when you realize this relic body plan thrives where modern cephalopods cannot, exposing how the ocean preserves ancient solutions in hostile niches. Animals are supposed to be discrete individuals with fixed body plans. Most accounts describe a giant siphonophore as a long, jelly-like colonial organism. The destabilizing detail is that it is a superorganism colony that can stretch 40 to 50 meters or more, longer than most whales, yet functions as one coordinated predator. Specialized zooids handle stinging, feeding, reproduction, and propulsion. The entire structure is thin as a broomstick, yet deploys bioluminescent displays and curtain-like tentacles to trap prey. Recorded specimens have reached 154 feet. That would already be strange enough for any sea creature. But the real mystery begins when you realize it blurs the very definition of one creature, showing colonial life can achieve sizes and efficiencies that challenge our concept of biological individuality. Lobe-finned fish were supposed to have given rise to tetrapods and then vanished 66 million years ago with the dinosaurs. Official science once called the coelacanth the classic living fossil thought extinct since the end of the Cretaceous. The destabilizing detail came in 1938 when a living specimen was pulled from the ocean off South Africa, almost unchanged for 400 million years. Its lobed fins contain skeletal structures resembling early tetrapod limbs, and it retains an oil-filled notochord instead of a fully ossified spine. It moves with a slow metabolism in deep, rocky reef habitats between 100 and 400 meters or deeper, living decades and navigating a world before land vertebrates existed. That would already be strange enough for any fish. But the real mystery begins when you realize it is a survivor from a Devonian world, proving evolution does not always march forward. Sometimes it simply persists. Modern cephalopods are supposed to be fast, intelligent, shell-less hunters. Most descriptions present the chambered nautilus as a beautiful, slow-moving, living fossil mollusk. The destabilizing detail is that it retains an external chambered shell virtually identical to fossils 500 million years old. Gas-filled buoyancy chambers allow neutral buoyancy and slow jet propulsion, while pinhole eyes without lenses rely on chemical cues. It operates at depths to 700 meters as both scavenger and opportunistic predator. That would already be strange enough for a cephalopod. But the real mystery begins when you realize this ancient body plan still works perfectly in the modern ocean, exposing gaps in the simplified progress narrative of cephalopod evolution. All animals are supposed to need a digestive system to process food. Official accounts call the giant tube worm a long worm living at hydrothermal vents. The destabilizing detail is that it has no mouth, no gut, and no digestive tract whatsoever. Specimens reach 2.5 meters or more, anchored in tubes at black smokers where they endure crushing pressure and scalding temperatures. A bright red plume exchanges gases, while a specialized trophosome organ houses billions of symbiotic chemosynthetic bacteria that convert hydrogen sulfide into energy. That would already be strange enough for any animal. But the real mystery begins when you realize life has been re-engineered at the chemical level where sunlight never reaches, revealing entire ecosystems independent of photosynthesis. Crabs are supposed to be opportunistic scavengers using claws for food. Most descriptions label the Yeti crab a hairy deep-sea crab at hydrothermal vents. The destabilizing detail is that it farms bacteria on its hairy claws by waving them in toxic vent fluid. Dense setae act as gardens for chemosynthetic microbes. The crab scrapes off and eats the harvest in clusters around the vents. Some species lack eyes entirely, yet tolerate extreme chemistry, pressure, and heat. That would already be strange enough for any crustacean. But the real mystery begins when you realize this symbiotic farming strategy turns a lethal environment into a food source, showing how evolution creates agriculture at the microbial scale in total darkness. Fish mouths are supposed to be sized to their bodies for efficient feeding. Official science describes the gulper eel as a slender, deep-sea eel. The destabilizing detail is that its mouth is enormous and hinged like a pelican's, allowing it to swallow prey larger than itself. The body reaches 1 to 2 meters, while the jaw can balloon to a quarter of its total length, backed by an expandable stomach and throat. It drifts at depths from 500 to 7,500 meters in the twilight to midnight zone, opportunistically engulfing scarce food. That would already be strange enough for any fish. But the real mystery begins when you realize this extreme morphological trade-off prioritizes rare feeding opportunities over everyday efficiency. We have examined 10 ocean creatures whose measurable anomalies, living fossils that refuse to change, colonial superorganisms longer than whales, parasitic reproduction that erases individuality, chemosynthetic independence, jaw mechanics faster than any other fish, and sensory systems engineered for worlds we barely recognize, stand as biological evidence. These are not mere oddities or curiosities. They are proof that nature, prehistory, and evolution are harsher, stranger, less linear, and far less settled than the simplified public story we inherited. They expose how much understanding can be lost, oversimplified, or rediscovered later. The ocean did not just produce impressive animals. It produced a living archive of extremes that came from a world far more alien and unforgiving than the flattened version we were taught. The deeper issue is that the real ocean, and by extension, life itself, still holds secrets that challenge everything we think we know.